on to the...
Hold on. There you go.
Okay. Welcome everyone to the Walter Masterson News Show, News Network, where you're getting, real news, not the mainstream media, not, liberal news media. You're coming here. There's no fact checking on this show. Isn't that right, Maggie?
That's right. Hi, everybody, and welcome to WMN. And I am Maggie Reed. I am Walter's co-host. And thank you so much for being here this evening. We are a no-fluff news network.
Yep. So
Walter, I wanted to talk about the big news of the day. It seems like we had a death in our family today. Rush Limbaugh.
Rush Limbaugh. I think it was just terrible. There's just people on the left, and they're saying they're glad he's dead. They're celebrating his death, really. And I mean, I think that's just terrible that it's his death is being celebrated like this.
I completely agree.
And I mean, people are what they're doing to try and insult him. The left is trying to insult him on Twitter and other social media by using direct quotes of his on social media. They're quoting him in context, and they, just to try and make fun of him, and I think that's just terrible.
Well, Walter, I think that Rush Limbaugh has said some pretty offensive stuff over the years, if I do recall.
I think people just don't get his sense of humor at all. I mean, sometimes he's kidding, sometimes he's not kidding at all. Sometimes he's actually dead serious, and sometimes he's just using humor to sort of cover up the fact that he's, being racist. And, and I feel like, if you're a conservative, you can tell when he's being racist and when he's not being racist. And I mean, that's just good old Rush Limbaugh for you. I tell you.
Well, you're the boss, Walter. So whatever you say applies with me.
You found a great video to play to memorialize this great radio host. You want to play it for our viewers?
Absolutely, Walter. Here we go.
Yes, you feminazis, here's the deal. If we are going to pay for your contraceptives and thus pay for you to have sex, we want something for it. And I'll tell you what it is. We want you to post the videos online so we can all watch. Air pollution, global warming has been shown to negatively impact penis size. I don't buy this. I think it's feminist. I can do one better than that.
Well, you know what?
When women got the right to vote, when it all went downhill. Because that's when votes started being cast with emotion and maternal.
Who doesn't love a dancing crab video?
Wait, this was the best video you could find?
It's what we had, yeah. It seems to me that there are people that are celebrating Rush Limbaugh being dead. I don't really understand, but
all right.
I guess he's been very.
Let's get some guests on here to talk about Rush Limbaugh, and let's say some great things about him. Do you have any guests coming on?
I do. We first have Max coming on. So.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Hey there, Walter. Hey, how's it going?
How you doing, Max? So,
I'm
Rush
sad.
Limbaugh just died today, and the left is just skewering him, and they're saying that they're glad he's dead, and they're using exact quotes.
The left has not been this happy since 9/11. I swear to God. Like, where is the respect? When Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, and we here on the right were celebrating and throwing parties and not obeying COVID restrictions and saying, yes, the bitch is dead. That's one thing. But, Papa Limbaugh was an inspiration to so many people. And now all these leftists, these socialists, they come on and they say, oh, he's a bad man because of his words and actions. Just terrible.
I agree because it was it was it's terrible because okay, so Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I mean, she died. We all celebrated and threw a party and said we're glad she's dead, and we called her a baby killer. But now
we
it's
got
different done to us.
I mean, Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death was a gift to us, right? That's how we got Amy Coney Barrett on the bench, right? She gave us something with her death. Losing Rush is just a loss. It is an empty space, right? This is the man that gave a lot of us, especially here in the media, careers. Before him, no one was speaking the truth. No one. Everyone was lying up until Rush Limbaugh started broadcasting, which is why the things he said sounded so different, so radical. Radical. Is it radical to say that the environmentalists are the ones, killing babies? Is it, radical to say that people who die of AIDS deserve it because they're drug users?
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know when he was being racist and when he was joking around. I think I could tell when he was joking and when he was being racist. What about you?
I mean, Rush is a funny guy. I mean, but even so, what is racism anyways but an invention of the left, right? Racism. Notice no one talked about racism until Trump and modern conservatives, came to power, right? Before that, racism, they're like, oh, what is this? What is racism? They didn't know, right? When Rush Limbaugh said a lot of this stuff, it was in the 90s, right? When the idea of a non-white was just weird to people. You didn't see him on TV, I don't think most people had even heard of someone except Jackie Robinson. That's one. I'll give you one.
Yeah. Oh, Jackie Robinson. Oh, perfect. Yeah.
He was great. That's one. And Rush Limbaugh never trashed Jackie Robinson. Magic Johnson a little bit. He did mock Magic Johnson as he, after he got his AIDS diagnosis, but Jackie Robinson never once.
Yeah. I mean, Rush did. I mean, he did make fun of people that died of AIDS all the time. And I think he was kidding.
Well, I mean,
he was kidding. He was doing right.
I mean, he was having a good time. That's for sure.
Okay.
We could tell that he was joyful. Right. He was boisterous. He was talking about people dying horrific deaths due to AIDS. But I mean, when I think about it, can you imagine?
He was kidding when he made all the rape jokes, right? And he was like, when someone would get raped, he would make fun of them.
We can't joke anymore, right? We can't joke about someone's trauma or something terrible that's happening in someone's life, right? Because it's offensive to the snowflakes over there on the left. But Rush, he didn't see that. He would look at someone who had suffered intense mental or physical abuse, and he'd just lay right in there. He'd be like, no rules, just right.
Yeah.
The Outback Steakhouse of commentators is great.
Yeah, I remember that. Whenever something terrible would happen to someone, he was right there to insult them for it. And I just feel like whenever there was a school shooting, he would just and he was always right there to just insult people that were suffering. I'll always remember about Rush Limbaugh. So yeah. So thank you so much, Max and Maggie. Let's go back to the studio. Oh, thank you. Always.
Welcome back. That was quite the interview with Max. I think
that's great contribution.
He's a wonderful guy. I think we have another guest for you to interview next. We have Peter coming on next. All right, fantastic.
Hello.
How you doing? It's Hillary Clinton. So Rush Limbaugh has died. Do you want to say some nice things about him? And what can we say about Rush Limbaugh?
I mean, I do think it's a good day because we can celebrate the fact that Rush Limbaugh is dead. He was a piece of shit. So I have nothing good to say about the man.
Okay, so let me stop you right there, Peter. So when you say piece of shit, how do you mean that he was a piece of shit?
I mean, he had a long career of being a racist, a transphobic, homophobic, misogynistic asshole. And so, I feel pretty comfortable saying he was a piece of shit.
Okay, so here's a problem. I feel like the left really doesn't understand when Rush Limbaugh was kidding, right? And they don't really just get his sense of humor there. So,
but
like when
there's a
there'd be a
difference
school
between
shooting
being
and he would
joking and being an asshole. Like those are different things. Like you can joke about things, sure, but when you actually hold these beliefs and you reinforce these beliefs for 30 plus years on public radio, on television, on social media, if after a certain amount of time, if it talks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's a duck. And he happens to be a really racist, misogynistic, transphobic duck.
Okay. You know what? I think he was like a duck that sort of turned into a swan there.
Or maybe a racist one. I could buy that.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you, Hillary Clinton. Maggie, we'll back to the studio there.
Wow, he really had a lot of opinions about Rush Limbaugh. So the next guest you have is
I'm sorry,
Anthony Walker.
Okay. Let's have him on there.
Howdy, Walter. How you doing today? Is you going through a tunnel there?
Okay, what are we talking? Anthony, any day now.
Yeah.
I'm just loading. Okay, all
you're
right.
buffering or something. I think you're going through a tunnel. Are you going through a tunnel?
I'm
not going through a tunnel.
I think you know what? It's the liberal media is trying to censor me. I think that's what it is because I'm trying to speak the truth. You know, and that's
I got Antifa all up in my firewalls and stuff, and they're hacking me. That's what it is.
It's very Antifa. So Anthony, great to have you on the show. We lost Rush Limbaugh today. What can we say about Rush Limbaugh?
Well, you know what? I'd like to start out by saying I don't understand why everyone keeps calling him by his fake name, Rush. I mean, you know, all us true patriots, we know that Rush was just a pet name given to him by his wife, you know, because of, you know, how he gets things done, if you know what I mean.
Oh, right. So he would finish like a little jackrabbit there. And so his wife called him Rush.
You got it right there.
Yeah.
He was racing all the time, and he always won. And you know, poor wife never got a chance to finish. But you know what? That's true conservatism right there. I mean, that's a perfect Republican right there. Is you know, it's all about him, and it doesn't matter what happens to his wife. I mean, you know, she's just there for support and cooking the meals and cleaning the house and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and so you know, it's a lot of things that the left really cannot really tell when he's kidding and when he's actually being racist, and it's just you know a lot of times when he's saying something really racist, he was just kidding, right?
Well, for sure. I mean, it's just like when Trump went up there and he said that we should bring the UV light inside the body or use some like the disinfectants. That was just a joke. I mean, just because he said it with like a really serious face and he fooled everyone, that doesn't mean it's not a joke. Anything that the libtards don't like, they're like, he's being serious. We got to cancel this guy. But the truth is, anything he says, or anything that any conservative or Republican says that goes against the grain, that isn't taken too well, we'll just be like, oh yeah, we was joking about that. We was joking, and they just didn't understand that joke.
Yeah, I mean, so let me ask you something, Anthony. So, let's say I get on TV and I say something racist. Does that make me a racist just for saying something that's totally racist, and I'm saying it in context? And I'm not making a joke at all? I mean, just because I'm saying something that's racist and I'm not walking it back when called out on it, does that make me a racist?
Well, I think what people needs to understand is that everything is scripted, right? I mean, he reads off one of them teleprompter thingies, right? Because I mean,
yeah.
That ain't right. No, he was too ugly to get on TV. So yeah, he was just reading off the paper that he was holding in front of him. So just because the writer wrote it, and it doesn't matter if he was that writer, like that, he was just reading out what the writer said. So
the writers that he would, so sometimes the writers that he would employ for his show would write really racist things for him to say. Some would call it transphobic or misogynistic. And yeah, so
he was just being a good employee by reading all them words.
Yeah, and people are just. What do you think about these people on social media right now, and they're trying to disparage Rush Limbaugh by posting quotes of his in context? What do you think about that?
I mean, I like it when people don't post bad stuff about folks that I love, because I hold him dear to my heart. And so when I look through the Tweetery bird today, I mean, it brought tears to my eyes just seeing, like, I was seeing all these beautiful quotes from our third coming of Christ. Like, it's not the second coming, because that would be Trump. Our third coming of Christ, saying all these beautiful words, and then underneath that quote would be some nasty Antifa, BLM, liberal nonsense, just trying to say, like, oh, just because he said this, that means he's racist. Well, sure, but you don't have to say that. Let's just appreciate all the good stuff he did in his time with us, like he did that thing, and you know the thing, and there was so much stuff I can't even name it off the top of my head. I couldn't even list it.
There's so much stuff. He would give money to things, and and just the left just wants to talk about how he would force his housekeeper to buy him drugs all the time and everything, and then that housekeeper eventually went to jail for it, and he didn't. And it's like, okay, why are we focusing on this right now? I mean, come on, Anthony.
At some point, you have to move on.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Anthony, thank you for coming on the show. Maggie, let's get back to the studio.
Wonderful interview, Walter.
Yeah,
now, I wanted to move on and talk about something that's been plaguing our country, and that's cold weather. How crazy is it in Texas right now, Walter?
Right now, it's just it's crazy in Texas. You have these the people on the left, these environmentalists, saying that the Earth is melting, and I'm like, well, if global warming is real, why is it cold outside?
I'm not sure that's exactly how it works, but you're the boss, Walter.
So the rolling blackouts, it's a mess down there in Texas. And I mean, personally, I think it's because of AOC's Green New Deal that Congress hasn't passed yet. So this is really, what's going on in Texas is really AOC's fault, really. And Nancy Pelosi, AOC, because the Green Deal that hasn't passed is responsible for everything that's going on right now.
I see your point of view on that one. I'm not quite sure I agree 100%, but like I said, you're the boss, Walter. Whatever you say flies.
And do we have any, let's get some guests on here, some climate experts to tell us what's going on in Texas right now.
Fantastic. I'll get them right on.
Awesome. Oh, Max. Okay, how you doing? All right, so explain what's going on in Texas right now.
Well, what's going on in Texas is a victory for the free market. This is great news. It is a system that is independent and free, unregulated, and it is working precisely the way it was designed to work. Walter, let me ask you what's more important. Some old person just can't even work a job. They're like, are they comfortable? Is that more important? Or is a company making money important? What's more important?
Well, you know what? I mean, if we want this country to run.
Money.
Okay, so what you're saying
is,
what?
That wasn't a rhetorical question. That was an actual question. Because
okay. Well, so you know what? I mean, we can't really stop the free market, can we?
Well, yeah. Well, because think about this. On an average day, you pay in Texas $20 per megawatt hour, and that comes from gas, and it comes from nuclear, it comes from wind and solar. Do you know how much the electric company gets to charge right now because of their supply and demand system? $9,000 per megawatt hour. $20 to $9,000, better than Bitcoin. These power companies are raking it in. People are like, oh, I want water, or sorry, I want electricity for my heating system. Oh, I want electricity to turn on my lights because I have to be indoors. And then the power system is like, hey, we don't have that much power. Our supply has gone down because because they exercised their right not to winterize their system because they didn't want to be regulated by the man. Like, government comes and says like, hey, you have to prepare for the winter. And they're like, it's Texas. It never gets cold there. And so they save money there. And now instead of producing, their typical 67 megawatts of power, they're producing like 20 megawatts. And so they don't have the power. And so like, who gets the power? People willing to pay for it. Not some like retiree. No, I'm talking about people who actually contribute to the economy. And that's how it should be working.
So, so basically the job creators are the ones getting electricity and heat right now.
Yeah, because they're willing.
Yeah. And
right?
Yeah, and basically this is the free market at work right now.
Oh, absolutely.
But also, how is this the Democrats' fault?
Oh, well, I'm looking at like old sleepy Joe Biden here, right? And it's just like, when Trump was president, he looked at a natural disaster like this, like what happened in California because of those Democrats, and he was like, no help. You go out there, you just rake the forest. You rake the forest and figure it out yourself. Whereas weak Joe Biden is out there being like, oh Texas, you didn't vote for me, but here, have this help anyway. Let's declare a state of emergency. Oh, have these government resources. Let me send FEMA. Do you need anything? What a cuck. Am I right? Like, this is the guy that gets turned down and then shows up at her house with flowers. Like, oh, can I do something? Like, Joe Biden is in the friend zone.
Joe Biden, basically what he should have done if he was going to be a strong president is he should have let the entire state suffer before sending in emergency aid, right? Because that's what Trump would have done, right? And Trump was a strong president. So
the other countries, they're laughing at us now. Like, we are a laughing stock. Like, what is this? Like we're just going to help any American who's in a desperate state of emergency?
Yeah.
And these are our tax dollars. That's your tax dollars. You live in Texas? You live in Texas?
No, I don't live in Texas. I own a ranch out there, and it's yeah.
Yeah, then why do you want your tax dollars going to some like Texan person, right? According to free market.
I don't want my tax dollars to give someone so someone can pay for electricity on their own. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, and it's not like they have to run the refrigerator. Am I right?
Yeah.
And it's so cold out
there.
If
you're so poor, then why do you have a refrigerator? Am I right?
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, this is the first time people are going to be able to keep milk for more than a week in that state. You know what I'm talking about. Oh my God. But like,
it's just crazy.
And it'd be even worse if Texas had more wind and solar, because like, although like now most of the
I think that's the problem here is the wind and the solar. The wind and the solar is causing all the problems. So how much of the state is wind and solar?
Oh, about a quarter, about 25% of what they've lost. The other, the rest of it is gas and nuclear and coal, but the gas pipes are frozen. What are you going to do about that? It's cold outside, right? I mean, you can't expect gas when it's cold outside. But the fact that these wind turbines aren't working, even though they could theoretically have been winterized, they weren't winterized, but they could have been winterized, and they're not working. And solar panels, what? They're working better now because they work better in snow? What is that, science?
This is AOC's fault. It's because of the Green New Deal, right?
I don't think it's AOC so much as it is Joe Biden and Democrats in the Senate. AOC may be the person, like, it's easy to dump on AOC. It's a lot harder to make this someone like Elizabeth Warren's fault.
Warren, okay, so she's behind it. And Warren is a senator. She's from Texas?
No. She's from some liberal state. I mean, we can't want to blame this on the representatives from Texas. I mean, they're doing their best, right?
Yeah, and it's basically, it's Texas. It's a democratically controlled state. Liberals have been running it for years, right?
Well, I mean, the Republicans are, Texas is close to. It doesn't border, but it's close to bordering Colorado and Arizona. I mean, these are states that betrayed President Trump, right? And I think some of their influence is coming through. And let's ask you this: where did the government, with their regulations, where are they now? They're helping people wait. Where are the people who said that climate change is a thing? I bet they're laughing now. Does the climate get different?
I mean, they're saying, well, if the climate is changing, why is it winter? Right?
Yeah.
Because that's not climate change.
If the climate is changing. Like, to me, like, of course, in Texas, that doesn't seem like a changed climate. That sounds like that's normal.
Yeah. It's supposed to be. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's just this more leftist propaganda. Max, thank you for coming on the show. Maggie, just get back to the studio there. You know what?
Hi, Walter. So it seems like. Go ahead, Walter.
Yeah. What were you saying? Oh, no, you were just buffering there. I thought it looked like we were being censored by the liberal media.
That sounds like the liberal media to me. I think we have a couple more guests to come on and talk about the weather in Texas. All right, fantastic.
Yeah, let's get some experts on here perfectly. Hillary Clinton, so tell us what's going on in Texas and how this is all AOC's fault.
I don't really know how AOC, a representative from New York, has anything to do with the Republican failures of governance in Texas, but it is negligence at every level. The Green New Deal hasn't been enacted yet.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up there, Peter.
The Green New Deal
you're breaking up. Can you repeat that?
The Green New Deal is not a law.
And it shouldn't
I don't know how much clearer I can make that. Texas, this is a failure of their own governments. They scaled back regulations so that a few wealthy people could gain more and more money off of this industry, and it's biting them in the ass now. And millions of people are suffering, are without power, are freezing in the cold because the Texas government and the Republican elected officials fucked up.
Okay. I'm sorry there. It just, you know what? That's not the information that I've been given. I thought this whole thing was just a liberal conspiracy. And, it's because of the wind turbines.
Wind energy is 8% of the power grid in Texas. 80 to 90% of their power grid is oil and gas. So the Green New Deal is actually something that could have helped prevent this type of catastrophe. And this wind turbine theory is nonsense. Canada has wind turbines. Alaska has wind turbines. None of them are frozen. It's because the Texas government didn't invest in heaters. So the wind turbines froze over. But even still, the wind turbines were operating at something like 50% over expected capacity. It was the gas and coal resources that have fucked them over right now.
That's not what I heard. We had Governor Abbott on the show the other day, and he said this was AOC's fault. And he's the governor of Texas.
That sounds like a lie. That sounds like a blatant lie that he told you. So I think you may want to check your sources. And I know you're not a big fan of fact checkers.
Okay, no, we don't do fact checking on this show. I'm sorry. We don't do this like liberal fact checking. Okay.
Yeah, right, it is true that facts in reality tend to have a liberal bias. I understand why you would be afraid of that in your little bow tie, all of that. But I do think it's important to recognize the facts of the situation. AOC clearly has nothing to do with this. She doesn't live in Texas. She's not a state official in Texas. But I know it's easier to make a boogie woman out of a young, powerful congresswoman from New York, but it's not really rooted in reality.
Okay. You know what? That's just, more liberal propaganda. Thank you, Hillary. Maggie, let's go back to the studio there. And
hi, Walter.
Get these people. I mean, it's like, where's he getting all of his information from?
You know what? I hear you, Walter. It's misinformation completely, right? He must be watching a lot of CNN.
It's like he's calling the governor a liar, right?
That's
like
crazy.
He's just telling me that the governor haven't lied to everyone.
If you can't trust a governor from Texas, I don't know who you can trust, right?
Yeah, and it's like, okay, and I mean, governor, he said it, and he to me that it was true, and he's like, I'm not just saying this to keep my job and to make it look like that I didn't screw up and everything, and I'm trying to scapegoat and avoid responsibilities. Like, it's actually true, and yeah.
Well, there are a lot of people
because of wind turbines.
Well, there are a lot of people that are upset with, the government of Texas right now, and they're coming out and saying that maybe they should have voted for better people, like maybe Beto O'Rourke. He might have been a better option, and maybe something like this wouldn't have happened if someone like Beto was in charge. Just a thought. But, best.
That would be it'd be a mess right now. I mean, we'd have all wind turbines, and then no one would have heat. It would just be terrible. Do we have another climate expert on here to talk about what's going on?
We sure do. Let's get him in the studio.
Anthony, you know what? You're in Texas right now. Tell us what's going on, and tell us how it's all AOC's fault.
Well, you know what? That's exactly right. I found out that she has been recruiting some Antifas and BLM, but here's the thing. It's not really Antifa. It's a rogue group inside Antifa called Antifa. So they go out there and they pour water on all these roads, right? And all over the power lines, and they're creating all this ice. Okay. That's why they're calling it black ice on the roads, because BLM is involved. And this is all orchestrated by AOC, and it's funded by George Soros. This is all a liberal plot to make us look bad. And you know what? I mean, I might be in one of the poorer places, and my trailer park kind of loses power like every 15 minutes or so. But I stand with all the job creators. You got it right there. I stand with all the job creators and all those rich people. All those rich people, they haven't lost power once. And you know what? That I stand for that, because they have the money that they made off of people like me, and they earned it. Yeah, they earned it.
I mean, listen, they're powering the economy right now, and I feel like people on the left don't really understand that. It's like, all right, why are the poor neighborhoods in Texas the ones all losing power coincidentally, and the rich neighborhoods aren't? Well, rich neighborhoods, they've got a lot to do, running the economy and powering, markets and everything. So we need to keep their heat on and everything, and make sure they're all comfortable and everything. And I mean, why don't the liberals get that?
You know what? I feels like the liberals don't get much of anything, do they?
It's just crazy. So tell me about how AOC's Green New Deal is basically to blame for all of this.
Well, you know what? It hasn't, technically been enacted yet. But I think what's happening here is when the Green New Deal was, drafted, and it was, given out through, press releases and media and all that, and we've seen drafts of the bill. Just by seeing that has an effect on people's minds, and it has an effect on our infrastructure, based on how it affects people's minds. So they see this Green New Deal, and they're like, oh, this is going to happen. And, when these, people that work at the power plants, when they go to work, that's always sitting in the back of their head. And it's like they planted an evil seed. Okay. So when they're working at the power plants, they're flipping the switches or turning the knobs, or, all that stuff. This Green New Deal is having some kind of effect, and it's like making the gas lines freeze. I mean, without this Green New Deal, them gas lines wouldn't be frozen.
Yeah, exactly. So we understand how power plants work. I've watched The Simpsons. For sure. I've watched episodes where Homer and Mr. Burns, are maintaining the power plant, and that's enough for me. Now, so here's the thing. I mean, people are saying, well, Biden has only been in office for like a few days, few weeks at best. And AOC's Green New Deal never passed, and it's not, hasn't been legislated, and everything. And I think you explained it perfectly, that it doesn't matter that Biden hasn't been president for like only more than a few days. It doesn't matter the Green New Deal hasn't passed. It's still their fault.
Absolutely. And I'd like to point out he is allegedly the president. I don't believe that, not for a minute.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's a whole different show. I mean, we talked about that the other week. I was interviewing last week. I should have had you on. It would have been great because we were interviewing the dead people that voted. We had some people on. They were dead, and they claimed to have voted. And
millions of them.
It was a great show. It's somewhere on YouTube and stuff like that. If you want to check it out.
Did you see my papa? Because he's dead and he voted for Trump. So he should have been there.
I mean, are you sure he voted for Trump? I mean, come on, you're right. Check his ballot.
He did not vote for Trump. That was part of a liberal plot.
Yeah, exactly. Anthony, it's been great having you on. Thank you so much. Maggie, let's get back to the studio there.
Oh, that was a wonderful interview. That was great, Walter.
And liberal media silence. Yeah,
they tried their
we
best.
covered a lot of bases here, and there's another thing we haven't really talked about is what's going on with Trump's comeback now that he's been acquitted. He's been acquitted twice now, and some people are saying, why are you bragging about being impeached and acquitted twice? That's like bragging about getting your high school GED. I don't think so. I think this really means that he's going to make a comeback and everything. So what do you think?
Well, you bring up some great points, Walter, but I think that a big portion of this country is very disappointed that Donald Trump was acquitted of inciting an insurrection when it was very clear that he had done it. But whatever you say, Walter, I totally agree with you. Yes.
You know what? I mean, we're going to have to agree to disagree there. I mean, I watched the footage that people had uploaded themselves as they raided the Capitol, that they posted themselves to social media. And I'm still not convinced that it was all Trump supporters. Because, I mean, how stupid would Trump supporters have to be to film themselves committing an act of domestic terror and then not only film themselves, but like upload it to social media? All right.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a great point. How stupid would you have to be, right?
Exactly. I mean, and I've talked to some Trump supporters, and they're not all stupid.
Sure. Yeah. I'm sure there's a couple of gems in there.
Yeah,
but it was really great that the Trump supporters, really just put out all the evidence there and, put it on Parler, on their Facebook.
Parler's back up now. Have you heard? It's back,
it sure is.
I was.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, right, Walter?
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad I didn't delete the app. It was just because I was about to, and everything, and it's like, okay, and I just got on there and just. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it here, but so let's talk to some legal experts and talk about Trump's acquittal.
Fantastic. I think first up we have Max back in.
Okay, perfect. Max, you're on the air. So we, Trump was acquitted this week, and what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's a great day for justice. I mean, if you look, Trump's legal team, not the best legal team. Like, we've heard them, not the greatest people. And that's what you get when you have a public defender, right? Someone who, the state assigns you at a criminal trial. It's not like we had Rudy Giuliani up there, for instance.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine? Oh, that would have been – it was Giuliani and Sidney Powell. I wish they hadn't had their quibble about getting paid and stuff like that. And then it was just – I mean,
money.
I think, I thought it was really sad to see that Giuliani just betrayed Trump like that. What can you do? You know?
I know. But what does it say that even with like I'm gonna say some of the worst defense attorneys that you can get, like the absolute worst defense, like saying that he's guilty as part of your opening statement, saying that he should be arrested and brought up on criminal charges while you're defending the man. The fact that Trump was still acquitted, I mean, how innocent do you have to be acquitted after the prosecution had so much evidence? They played that like very compelling video. They had so many quotes, so many statements. These are senators and congresspeople that say they feared for their lives for not a majority, but for enough of them to acquit Trump. I mean, he must have been shining with innocence. They must have looked in their heart.
I mean, so let me ask you something. Here's a hot topic right now in Washington is, should they open an investigation into what Nancy Pelosi knew? Like, because if you think about it, this is all Nancy Pelosi's fault.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Hot Topic is great. You get like a cool leather jacket there with some spikes on it. You can get just like a really bunch of cool posters, maybe a black light there, some of like really tall platform shoes. But getting back to the trial, I mean, it seems like Democrats are just, across the country, they're so eager to prosecute Trump for what? Crimes? Look, Mitch McConnell said it best. A president can't commit a crime. I believe he was quoting, it was either George Washington or Richard Nixon. I can't remember which one of them said that a president can't commit a crime, but one of those two. And McConnell, like during impeachment one, he's just like, you had the Department of Justice saying that you can't prosecute a sitting president for crimes, and and then we have this trial of someone who's not even president anymore. I mean, how do you
yeah.
Oh God!
I'm not a lawyer, but I mean, it's like, all right, you don't arrest if someone robs a bank. You don't arrest them after they leave the bank with the money. It's like they got out of the bank with the money. It's like they're free.
It's like they spent the money already. It's like it's already gone.
That's what I can't get. So you robbed the bank. You spent all the money. What are we gonna? What good is it to arrest you? You spent the money.
Sorry, are you gonna arrest me for this like memory of the money I used to have?
Because that's gonna get you your money back, right? Yeah.
Like, how do we feel about Mitch McConnell? That's my question. Because 2 seconds after he votes to acquit, he's like, if only we had impeached him while he was president, I would have convicted him.
Yeah.
I mean,
so explain to me why this is Nancy Pelosi's fault.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So like, say that like I'm President Trump and I am like trying to get my supporters to go up to the Capitol and threaten and lynch them to overturn the results of the election, right?
Okay, perfect.
Right?
Yeah.
They went in there and did they find Nancy Pelosi?
No, they did not.
Nancy Pelosi.
It's a question. Where was Nancy Pelosi while they were raiding the Capitol? Right? She was being evacuated. Okay.
No, this whole thing smells of Looney Tunes. The Patriots are Wile E. Coyote, and Nancy Pelosi is the Roadrunner, right? Like they go in there with their explosives and their weapons, and then it's just like beep, beep, and it's like, and you look, it's like, oh, is it Nancy Pelosi? No, it's an impeachment trial. Come on, right? Okay. And now Georgia wants to prosecute Trump for trying to interfere with the election. Wait, like Republicans are like, I don't even think it's possible for Republicans to be guilty of interfering with an election, right? Didn't Republicans write that into law?
Yeah, I mean, so you bring up an interesting point there, Max. So I watched the Coyote and the Roadrunner. There's an episode that I remember now. So the Coyote draws like a tunnel and like on a rock face, right? And so he just wants the Roadrunner, and the intention was for the Roadrunner to hit the rock face, thinking that was the road. Okay, now
great, super smart. I like Coyote.
Yeah. So okay, great move. All right. Now, what does the Roadrunner do? The Roadrunner just runs right through the tunnel, and for a second, there's some dissonance from the Coyote, thinking, "All right, well, that's the I painted that. That's not a tunnel. And then he goes to run through it, and he hits the rock face and falls flat on it. And I think that's what happened with Nancy Pelosi and the Capitol rioters.
Exactly right. And and it's unfair. And it's unfair to suddenly expect that, like, a man who has been a billionaire or a millionaire his entire life, right? It's not like he even knows what a law is, Walter. When you're that rich, you like, what is a law but a series of fines you have?
Listen, that's what you.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what you get when you get a Washington outsider. You get someone that doesn't know the law. They don't, he's breaking the law because he doesn't know any laws. That's why he's always breaking the law.
Right, exactly. I mean, like, did we elect someone because we're like, oh, I want you to know all the laws so you can just give me more laws and oppress me? No, that's tyranny, Walter. I believe in freedom. Freedom from consequences. If I go out there and I hit someone's car and they can't prove it, why should I have to pay for it? Right?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And that's
maybe I scratched like the paint on my car, and who's going to pay for that? Me.
Exactly. But you know what? I'm really happy. You know what? I want Trump to bring back law and order. Is what I want.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It's just yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and
Max, thank you.
All those
Max, thank you for coming on the show. And Maggie, well, let's get back to our next guest here. It's always great to hear from him.
I really love that Wile E. Coyote metaphor. You're so brilliant, Walter.
Yeah, you know what? So, here's the thing. So, the coyote draws the tunnel on the rock face.
So smart.
And then, it's a great move, right? Now, the Roadrunner runs through the tunnel. And, and I feel like that's what Nancy Pelosi did at the Capitol. And, you know what? Okay. Am I wrong?
Sure.
Am I right? You know what? I mean, there's no way. I feel like that's why we need a commission set up to sort of investigate and see who was the Roadrunner in this situation, because I kind of find it's very interesting that they didn't get to kill Nancy Pelosi.
Yes.
The Secret Service and the Capitol Police made sure that no one killed any members of Congress. Okay,
I think they were just doing. I'm pretty sure they were just doing their job.
Yeah.
But anyways, we've got another guest, Walter, that I'm going to bring on. Right?
Fantastic. All right, who's our next guest? All right, it's Hillary Clinton. We're talking about. Well, we were talking about the Roadrunner and the Coyote, but we're talking about Trump's acquittal. And now, should Nancy Pelosi be investigated for what's going on here and to find out what she knows about everything?
Why would Nancy Pelosi be investigated? She's the one who's been calling for an investigation.
That's exactly why she needs to be investigated. It's kind of fishy. Okay, so what did she know
You're saying
about
that she needs to be investigated for Donald Trump trying to incite a riot on the Capitol? I don't understand your logic here. Nancy Pelosi's life was put in danger. You even had other members of Congress tweeting Nancy Pelosi's location while people were storming the Capitol. So I don't really understand the logic of that. I do think, speaking about the acquittal for a moment before we move on, it is a shameful degradation of duty by these congressmen. Like, these Republicans are spineless. So many of them said that they would support impeachment, but then are trying to hide behind the fact that it's unconstitutional, even though Congress and the Senate voted that it was constitutional just a few days before. So I think that's pretty nonsensical. I think it is sad that Trump's not being held accountable. Not surprising, because in the United States, we never hold rich, wealthy white people or like Congress people, people on Wall Street accountable for their crimes, but it's still sad.
You bring up an interesting point. So you had Congress members, they were tweeting the location of Nancy Pelosi. Now, that's protected under the First Amendment. If I want to tweet, let's say Capitol rioters are in the building and they're looking for people to kill, and I tweet another Congress member's location, I mean, that's protected under free speech.
Maybe you're right to say that thing, but if it could potentially be put under investigation as like if something had happened to her, you could be an accessory or even worse to a crime. And so, like, thank God that no one, as members of Congress, weren't hurt. Like, obviously, there were Capitol Police officers hurt. There were other people at the scene hurt. And so that is very sad. But just because someone's right to tweet is there doesn't mean that the fact that we didn't hold Trump accountable for this is made any better. Like, that is still the travesty of all of it.
What did he really do there? He said, you know what, let's walk to the Capitol, and I'm going to walk with you. And he didn't walk with anyone.
He incited a violent event. Like, he literally said, he pointed in the direction of Mike Pence. He put his rhetoric there all day and then sent them after him. There were people literally outside chanting, hang Mike Pence, hang the traitors. There were people who, as they were wiping tear gas out of their eyes, were saying, we did this for Trump. Trump is fighting for us, and so we've got to fight for him. So I think it's pretty clear when people ask, oh, who is responsible for the Trump supporters at the Trump rally who marched on the Capitol after Trump's speech? I wonder, who is responsible? Or who do you think?
Well, you know, I find it really funny that, you know what, Antifa is at every Trump rally, right? You know, there were all the rallies, okay? And then, you know what, they just were absent that day. I mean, what did Antifa know about this Trump rally?
So I think that's interesting logic, though, because why would a group that is, or why would an ideology based in anti-fascism help in a coup, in an authoritarian coup attempt? That wouldn't make any sense. That's probably why they were absent. And also because the head of Trump's FBI said that Antifa is not a group. So because Antifa is not like a group that exists, that's probably part of the reason they were absent as well.
Oh, you know what? Here's the thing. I think I personally don't know anything about fascism. I didn't really study it in social studies or anything like that. I sort of missed the 8th grade. But I'm going to go ahead and say that anti-fascists are the real fascists.
And could you explain? Could you just delve into that? How does that make sense?
You know what? Just because you know, they're so anti-fascist. And, you know, it's like, fascism, you know, and
Walter, could you define fascism for me? Do you know what that word means?
I already told you that I missed 8th grade social studies, and I don't know the actual definition of fascism. Okay.
So maybe you shouldn't throw around the word fascism or anti-fascism then if you don't know what they mean.
Okay.
That's just a little bit of advice. Obviously, this is your show and not mine, but I think
this is the problem with the left. You know what? This is me expressing my opinion, and somehow I'm wrong.
But it's an opinion that's based not in reality or fact.
Okay, how am I not in fact? So
because
I said exactly something. How is it not
an opinion? Because you don't even know the definition of fascism. You're trying to talk about fascism. So
I mean,
clearly you're not based in fact. You're based in opinion and conjecture, which is worthless. It doesn't mean anything to anyone. Who cares about your opinion? You're wearing a bow tie right now.
Fascism. Oh, let's you know what? Perfect, typical liberal. You know, just start making ad hominem remarks and right. You know,
I mean, you look like Tucker Carlson there in 2004. You invited on yourself. Like,
okay, you know what? Because you can't debate me. You know what? You're just resorting to this ad hominem here, and it's very typical.
See, the thing is, we already got through the fact that you're not ready to have a debate with facts, so we might as well debate the decision you made to put that bow tie on, because that really is a strange and questionable decision, to say the least.
Okay, you know what? My mom gave me this bow tie. It's a clip-on. Okay, I don't know how to tie a bow tie. All right, because I'm not some beta.
I believe that. That is probably the most factual thing you've said all evening.
Yeah. Okay, so you know what? Thank you so much, Hillary. You know, it's been a pleasure, and I'm not surprised at all. Thank you,
Walter. I think your bow tie looks very professional. You know, I bought one for my son. He's 4 years old. He looks very cute in it as well.
Oh, Oh, that's perfect. You got him a red one thinking about me. Thank you, Maggie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
let's.
it's been quite a show, Walter. I think you have one more guest on. Let's see if he's available. Okay.
One more. Let's talk to one more expert here.
I guess he's gone. So no.
It's it's this suppression of by the liberal media here. So sorry, the liberal media tried to suppress you, but you're back. So thank you for that, Anthony. Let's talk acquittal here. Oh, he's being censored again. Liberal media, I can't hear you because your voice is being suppressed by the liberal media. Yep, can't hear you. You know what?
Are you going through a tunnel or something?
Oh no, okay. I'm sorry. It was the liberal media was suppressing you, and that's why I couldn't hear you.
Antifa.
Yeah.
What in the hell?
So,
they're going all after my computery stuff and all that tonight.
So all right. So Trump was acquitted, and so should there be an investigation into Nancy Pelosi? Because she seemed to be the one here where it's like, what did she know about this riot that happened? And seems a little shady, right?
You know what? I think that's a perfect question because I saw Vidya. Okay, I was watching the hoax impeachment trial, and they showed the Vidya. People was walking through there, and there was like, Nancy, where are you, Nancy? That wasn't them being hostile. That was them looking for their boss. Okay, so yes, we needs to find out what Nancy knows about all this because clearly she's the ringleader. Okay, so the people that were hunting her and running through the hall saying, "Where's Nancy Pelosi?" They weren't looking to kill her. They were just looking for their boss. Even though they said they wanted to kill her, they destroyed her office and stole her laptop. That's just they had to make it look good.
All crazy and out of control, right?
They have to make it look good, for the cameras and all that.
Yeah. So you know what? You make an excellent point, Anthony. I thank you for that. Really. So I mean, and I just because I thought it was kind of funny, kind of suspicious. I don't have really proof of this or anything, and we don't operate off of proof. I'll just tell you that. But you know what? She was evacuated somehow by the Secret Service or the Capitol Police, and no one got a hold of her. It was like, all right, so people are storming the building. Where are you, Nancy Pelosi? Right?
And it's just like that traitor too, Mike Pence. I mean, where did he disappear to? I mean, he had all them valuable nuclear codes, and he was nowhere to be found. And by the way, my brothers and sisters that was in that building fighting along with me to find Mike Pence, we wanted to hang him non-violently, okay? If we strang him up and he dies, the rope killed him, not us, okay? So let's just get that straight. We weren't being violent. We wanted to hang him non-violently just for fun. Okay, so I mean that's an excellent point that you bring up, Anthony. So you're in the Capitol with your friends, family. You're saying we're going to hang Mike Pence, which is your First Amendment right. So everyone's thinking, Trump supporters are being all violent, and they want to kill. It's like that was just rhetoric. It's like I feel like a lot of times the left doesn't know when we're just kidding, right? It's like when Rush is saying all these racist things. They doesn't know he's joking. Just like when I'm saying I want to hang they doesn't know I mean non-violently hang him. Okay, did you ever see that movie with Will Smith, Wild West? Oh my God, I love it. Yeah, where they had they hang him on the rope, but it's actually like a rubber rope. That's what we wanted to do. That would be fun. Yeah, Mike and I would have a real good time with that. Oh my God! I could tie him up and pull him like a dog. Yeah, he'd have some fun with that. I think he's into that. Will Smith, he's one of my favorites. He's got a real dark tan though. You know that, right? Oh yeah, I mean it's like people say, people call me racist, and it's like, well, I watched a Will Smith movie. What do it's like? How can I be racist if I watched a Will Smith movie? Right? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like they don't get that. These liberal Antifas, they don't get none of that.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I once thought about maybe having a friend that looked kind of maybe half black, and that means I'm not racist. These people don't get that. Just because he didn't actually turn out to be my friend, and just because he wasn't actually black, he just had some, oil on him from doing his oil change. I mean, that doesn't mean I'm not racist.
so he was doing what the liberals call blackface is what he was doing, and I bet they probably think he was racist, for doing blackface.
They would probably try to cancel him if they found those photos.
God damn, it's just it never ends. Anthony, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure as always.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, yeah.
What a great show, Walter.
Oh my God,
Fantastic interviews.
I just thank you for having just a wonderful panel on here. You know what I mean? We try to hear both sides and give us this little fair and balanced thing here. And
Sure.
I mean, and it's oh, and you know what? Thanks for sticking with me because there's a lot of buffering going on, and I think
There is today. I think that you said you were mentioning it's the liberal media, but I think it's just the streaming.
I don't know about that. Listen, you know what? If we can sort of agree to disagree here.
Sure.
I think it's sort of the censoring of right-wing voices, really, and it's yeah. I mean, I was because I felt and it's happened multiple times. I was in the second bathroom of our house while my wife was asleep. I was on Pornhub, and what it wasn't loading normally. Until I took my phone off of Wi-Fi, and I had to watch these Pornhub videos just through my data plan.
Oh, poor you, Walter. That's got to be real rough.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Trump being kicked off.
Absolutely.
Me having to use my data plan to watch Pornhub. You know what?
Yeah.
And
seems like you've got a lot of things to complain about, Walter, don't you? But you're the boss.
Yeah,
you know best, right?
That's what we show every week. So, Maggie, it's been a wonderful pleasure. Thank you, everyone at home for watching this. We're going to be back next week from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 o'clock Pacific Time. And so, just want you to know that over at this conservative channel, we do not do any fact checking. All right, that's kind of like a liberal thing. And so, this is a no spin zone, no fact checking zone, none of that stuff. And you can count on me coming back here every week. All right, so thank you, everyone. Take care.